time. Yeah, if I control Rewind, I would want...
What else is there supposed to go back to?
And Marquez Brownlee.
Is this what you wanted?
You know who I would have asked for?
Quit horsing around!
His
Let me start jumping.
quarantine.
Okay. You said jump.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the channel if you haven't already. Be sure to keep that like button on the jaw. Punch! Subscribe and ring that notification bell like the match has started. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to be giving you your AEW results, the winners, the grades, my reaction, and highlights from the May 6th episode of AEW. So, without further ado, this is your AEW review inside Wrestling Cauldron. For the first time in over a month, All Elite Wrestling hit the TNT airwaves live, with a show dedicated to building the May 23rd Double or Nothing pay-per-view extravaganza. Matt Hardy made his first in-ring appearance with the company, teaming with AEW Tag Team Champion Kenny Omega in a street fight against the Inner Circle's Chris Jericho and Sammy. You already know I'm not going to be able to pronounce his name. AEW World Champion Jon Moxley returned to action against SCU's Frankie Kazarian and the finalists in the TNT Championship Tournament saw action as Lance Archer battled QT Marshall and Cody squared off with the bad boy Joey Janela. Yeah, girls like to call me bad boy. Who emerged victoriously from the advertised bouts, what matches were made official for the upcoming extravaganza, and what would the returning MJF have to say to the AEW wrestlers and fans? Find out this recap, the May 6th episode of NXT of AEW. To kick things off, Cody versus Joey Janela. Ahead of his opportunity to become the first TNT champion at Double or Nothing, Cody battled the returning bad boy, Joey Janela. You already know what girls like to call me at night. I swear I'm not a predator. Please, please die! Please die! In the opening match of Wednesday's broadcast, a fast, furious exchange of near falls opened the bout until an intense Cody, fueled by the beating dealt to his brother Dustin by Lance Archer a week ago, teed off on Janela. The bad boy, you already know the joke. The bad boy recognized the opportunity before him, answered, and seized control of the contest. The fight spilled to the floor where Cody halted his opponent momentum and dropped him with a disaster kick, then followed with a moonsault. Back inside, a super kick to Cody revived Janela, but a reverse suplex put him back down for two. The fight devolved into a slugfest, each competitor throwing wild fists. As frustration set in, Cody gained the upper hand and dropped Janela with a crossroads for the hard-fought victory. As a result, Cody defeated Janela. What do I grade this? I grade this a B because Cody is quick in developing into the most consistently great wrestler on TV. Regardless of his opposition and whether their style meshes with his, he always seems to be able to adapt and get the absolute best of whomever he shares the ring with. Such was the case here. In what may have been Janela's best singles performance to date. Yes, even including the two showdowns with Kenny Omega. The intensity demonstrated late is key to Cody's performances the remainder of the month as he prepares for what will be an incredibly personal, high-stakes match against Lance Archer on May 23rd at Double or Nothing. And moving on to the next one. Our next match, Nyla Rose returns to action. AEW Women's Champion and the Native Beast. Nyla Rose made her first appearance on Dynamite in over a month, seeking to reestablish her dominance as she battled young Kenzie Page. Rose pummeled her opponent, completely overwhelming here with her strength and velocity. Consecutive powerbombs gave way to the Beast Bomb as Rose rolled to victory. Top contenders watching from ringside as she made quick work of Page. As a result, Rose defeated Page. What do I grade this? I grade this a, you know what? Forget it. Grade this a solid A. Because Rose was absolutely dominant here. As she should be. What better way to reintroduce her and her brand of aggression than by having her bowl over someone who will not be hurt in defeat? All while sending a loud, clear, and punishing message to the likes of Britt Baker, Chris Statlander, Hikaru Shida, and Penelope Ford. The Native Beast is back. The women's division is better for it. And now the top contenders' chase of the gold can resume. The entire women's roster will benefit. Now moving on to the next one. Next, the AEW World Champion Jon Moxley versus Frankie Kazarian. Promo from MJF trumpeted his return to the squared circle before Tony Schiavone revealed that the Arrogant Hill would square off with Jungle Boy at Double or Nothing. From there, SCU's Frankie Kazarian hit the ring for his biggest singles match in AEW to date. A non-title match with World Champion Jon Moxley. Matt Wrestling dominated in the early moments of the match to Kazarian's advantage, just as the commentary brought up the champion's knack for making the opposition wrestle his style of match. The fight spilled to the floor where Mox took control as Kazarian nursed what looked like to be a bad knee. Back in the ring, Kazarian answered a release German suplex with a backstabber. He stayed one step ahead of Moxley, cutting off everything the champ threw at him. As he's done so often over the course of his career, Jon Moxley fought back and dropped Kazarian with the paradigm shift for the win. After the match, the Dark Order's minions hit the ring and attacked Moxley. A save from SCU failed as the numbers game proved overwhelming. The excited one, Brody Lee, appeared and dropped the champion. Lee said he was answering the bounty Moxley put on his head last week. He proceeded to challenge Moxley for the title. The champ accepted, then endured another beating for his trouble. As a result, Jon Moxley defeated Kazarian. What do I grade this? I grade this a B because Kazarian looked great here, reminding longtime fans why he was a multi-time X Division champion in TNA. He looked motivated and hungry, and the result was a strong match with Moxley. The commentary team putting him over as strongly as it didn't hurt. The meat of the segment was the Dark Order nonsense and Lee's championship challenge to Moxley. Ignoring the fact that loss halts his momentum, Lee has not done nearly enough to warrant a title shot. In a company that prides itself on wins and losses, beating Marco Stunt doesn't earn you a title opportunity. The lack of continuity is problematic. as in the company's commitment to the Dark Order. Of course, Lee and Moxley is bound to be awesome, especially if they are allowed to cut loose and kick ass, as their history and talent suggests will be the case. Now, moving on to the next one. Our next match, QT Marshall versus Lance Archer. A week after his partner Dustin Rhodes was beaten to a bloody pulp by Lance Archer, QT Marshall tested his luck against the Murder Hawk monster as Jake the Snake Roberts watched from ringside. He did not fare well early as Archer dominated into the break. Marshall delivered a big enziguri, but Archer dropped him with a shoulder block. The blockout failed to put Marshall away, so the EBD claw finished him. After the match, Britt Baker hopped the guardrail and delivered a DDT to Brandy Rhodes, who had thrown her shoe into the stands. In the ring, Roberts produced a snake and sprawled it on the unconscious body of AEW's chief brand officer, while Jim Ross denounced the connotations of the action on commentary. The result, Archer defeated Marshall. What do I grade this? I grade this in solid A. I think that's the most A's I've had this week. The match itself was a glorified squash, but what made this segment such a success was the manner in which Archer and Roberts continue to poke and prod at Cody by targeting his family and friends. Dustin and Marshall, and now Brandy, have all felt the wrath of Cody's antagonists, and the result should be an intensely personal match at Double or Nothing, if the American Nightmare can wait that long. A fight cannot be ruled out then, nor should it. The brilliant mind games by the heels have earned one. Cody will likely to be looking to whoop up on Archer, and rightly so, even if that results in a beating that puts him in a disadvantage entering the pay-per-view. Now moving on to the next one. And finally, the main event! The Lay Sex Gods, Chris Jericho and Sammy, I'm not pronouncing his last name, versus Broken Matt Hardy and Kenny Omega. The main event of the evening saw Broken Matt Hardy make his in-ring debut, teaming with AEW Tag Team Champion Kenny Omega in a street fight against the Inner Circle's Lay Sex Gods. Sammy, I'm calling him Sammy G. Sammy G and Chris Jericho. Hardy paired off with Jericho, fighting up the ramp into the backstage area, while Omega and G battled in the ring. Jericho returned, joining G for a 2-on-2 beatdown, until regular Hardy, an old school appeal, returned to the fray and fired on the heels. As the fight continued, Hardy introduced a ladder, from which he drove G through a table. Jack Hazier appeared, broke up the pen, and sent Omega into the ring post. The Inner Circle regained control during the break, and the fight spilled into the arena concourse, where Hardy sent Jericho into an ice machine. Lay Champion answered with a bag of ice to the face. Omega drove Hazier down with a trash can, but G slowed him. Omega powerbombed G into a garage door, but Jericho wiped him out with a cart. Emerging from the ice as Demarcus, Hardy hopped in a golf cart and rammed it into Jericho, clipping him. He ran over G next. Oh, which actually is in the background right there. It's so funny. But Omega delivered a big moonsault off a lift, wiping out the Inner Circle, Santana, and Ortiz. saved Jericho from the one-winged angel as the numbers game proved insurmountable. Jericho powerbombed Omega on top of the golf cart, then downed him with the Judas effect for the win. As a result, Jericho and Guevara defeated Omega and Hardy. That's it. What do I agree with this? I'm so glad you asked. Because, you know what? Because it's so good, it deserves to be on there. I will show you the grade on the monitor. So, hold on. If this would get into focus, you can see that there. Here we go. A plus! That's right. I actually did it for once. I graded a match in A plus, and that's going to be there. But anyway, here's why. AEW promised a wild and chaotic, and it delivered. This was a spectacular main event that broke confines of an empty arena and took the fight elsewhere. Much in the same way the Boneyard match between AJ Styles and Undertaker did at WrestleMania. The spots were creative, fun, and innovative, whatever. Hardy running down G and Jericho in the golf cart was laugh out loud funny. And the brutality shown by the Inner Circle late was exactly the answer to Hardy's mounting offensive. It needed. The change in personalities by Hardy was a bit much, and both he and the company should consider toning things down a little bit. But it was creatively accomplished and fit the match, so it worked on this occasion. On a night that featured greater urgency as AEW built a pay-per-view card, this was the perfect cap and hopefully as fun as the rest of the audience as it was for yours truly. And that's all I got for you today. Okay, there were 5 matches in total, and there were 3 A's for me, 2 B's for me, too. So, okay, so yeah, there you go about that. So now, anyway guys, thank you guys so much for watching. If you haven't already, be sure to give that like button a job. Punch! That's subscribe and press and ring that notification bell. Like the match has started, and I'll see you guys next time. Chew. Sawi. Good. See you guys next time.